At 7:04 a.m. on a Saturday, I swung open my front door, still half asleep, coffee sloshing over the rim of my mug, and just stopped cold. Right there in my driveway, blocking me in like some suburban barricade, was a silver SUV looked like a rolling apartment trunk, wide open and spilling every bit of Monica Grayson's life onto my freshly mowed grass. Baby clothes, broken mugs, a sun-faded plastic flamingo, a bundle of tangled lampshades. Honestly, it looked like the universe had sneezed out a thrift store onto my lawn. Tables full of junk turned my driveway into a yard sale circus. And in the center, like she owned the joint, stood Monica, rocking a floral muumuu and barking orders at her teenage son and two random neighbor kids she'd roped in. Before I could even get a word out, Monica pointed at me, gave me the universal shush, and with the confidence of a HOA dictator told me it'll be cleaned up by lunch. Just a few hours. Yeah, right. My car was trapped. My Saturday plans going up in smoke, and my own property had been commandeered for this circus. Neighbors across the street watched, arms folded, faces set in that popcorn-eating, let's see how this pans out look. So I tried to keep it civil. Monica, I really need to leave in an hour. She turned, smiled so hard it could cut glass, and said, it's just a driveway park on the street like everyone else. Then she went right back to haggling with a woman over a dented teapot like I was the help or something. I glanced over at the crowd for support. A dog walker, a couple retirees in slippers. Three neighbors I thought might be on my side, but all I got was that look you give someone who's about to lose a fight with a hurricane. If you've ever dealt with a neighbor from hell, you know what I mean. See, this wasn't about yard sale money for Monica. It was about control. She stacked petty victories like Tupperware in her trunk, always had to have the last word. By 8, my driveway was swarmed with bargain hunters, ants on syrup. My Ring camera caught a kid peeing in my hydrangeas and a squirrel running off with a stuffed bear, pure chaos. Monica set up shop under a beach umbrella, commanding the action and somehow keeping her own grass spotless, while mine turned into a minefield of old shoes and chipped plates. I called the police. They took one look, civil matter, they said work it out. Parking enforcement. No help either, since her SUV wasn't technically on the street. My problem, apparently. Even Greg, the HOA president, texted me a thumbs up, support your neighbors, like that meant anything. But the thing is, Monica had just bragged at the last HOA meeting about towing a delivery guy's car for blocking her mailbox. If someone parks on your property, you have every right to get rid of it, she'd said loud enough for the whole room. Those words bounced around in my head like a gift from the karma gods. I eyed Monica's keys sitting on her folding table unguarded while she argued over a chipped vase. Quick check, SUV unlocked, registration in her name, no title. Classic Monica, organized chaos. As I stood there plotting, my neighbor Claire showed up all smirks and stories. Monica had reported her for unsightly lawn gnomes last fall, and Claire hadn't forgotten. She even had a buyer lined up, someone Monica once feuded with over wind chimes. By noon, the plan was set. I printed a sign for sale, 2007 silver SUV, best offer runs great. See owner for keys, and taped it right above Monica's support local moms sticker. Then I parked myself on my porch with fresh coffee and watched the neighborhood lose its mind. First folks started whispering. Then the crowd around the sale shifted from bored to buzzing. Everyone wanted to know if Monica's SUV was actually up for grabs. When people started asking her how much, Monica went red, snapping, "It's not for sale," but the crowd didn't buy it. Claire, bless her, kicked off a bidding war, raising her hand and calling out numbers like she was on The Price is Right. But the real ace, the paperwork. I called my cousin who runs a towing company. He sent over a pre-filled tow form, legal and tight. Her car was blocking my garage. I had every right. Claire signed as a witness. As people gathered, Monica stormed over, clutching a yardstick like she was about to knight someone or smack me upside the head. "What do you think you're doing?" she hissed. Claire, with a straight face, asked, "If we buy the SUV, do the Beanie Babies come with—" The crowd ate it up, laughing, phones out. "It's a prank," Monica shrieked. I shrugged. You blocked my driveway for hours. Just thought I'd help sell your stuff. She threatened to call the cops. I held up my phone. Want me to do it for you? And right then, a police cruiser rolled up, probably tipped off by a neighbor who wanted a front row seat. Monica turned on the tears, claiming I sabotaged her yard sale. The officer just asked, "Is this your driveway?" I nodded. Her car. Still hers, still blocking me. He checked his notepad, looked her dead in the eye and said, "Ma'am, permits. Don't let you block people's access. Move it." Monica, wild-eyed, stammered, "I can't, I have customers." The crowd was recording now, some even streaming live. The officer lost patience. "Move it or we ticket and tow." She grumbled, knocked over a crate of old CDs, stepped in cookies, and finally moved her SUV, muttering the whole time. The crowd actually cheered. But if you think Monica learned a thing, you don't know Monica. Sure enough, not even an hour later, my cousin's tow truck pulled up, thinking it was still needed. The neighbors whooped, thinking it was all part of the plan. Monica sprinted out, screaming, "You can't tow it now." The driver stayed cool, "Ma'am. It's been on private property. If you want it back, sign here." Monica looked like her head might explode. The SUV got hauled off anyway. The crowd gave me a standing ovation, but that wasn't the end. The next morning, my inbox blew up with HOA violation notices, weeds. I didn't have unapproved lighting, antagonistic flag. It was the for sale sign. She took pictures of my trash cans, my mailbox, even my cat, looking for any dirt to throw at me. Greg, the HOA prez, showed up at my door with a stack of violations asking me to apologize for the good of the community. I asked if I should apologize for letting Monica turn my driveway into a flea market too. He gave me the look, the "don't make this harder" look, but Monica had broken rules herself. No permit for her sale tables blocking the sidewalk, you name it. So I snapped a few photos, got 5 neighbors to do the same, and sent an anonymous letter to City Hall. 2 days later, the city inspector fined her, ordered the junk gone, and the block finally rallied for a neighborhood cleanup. Monica, fuming, started up with the petty stuff, group texts, trash talk, weird rumors. Apparently, my goldfish was now a dangerous animal knocking over my trash cans. One neighbor even let their dog pee on my doormat. But here's the twist. People were tired of her, too. They started sharing stories one after another. She'd tattled on kids for drawing chalk on the sidewalk, called animal control on a cat, tried to ban Halloween decor. Claire floated the idea of an HOA recall vote. Someone else dug up suspicious HOA fund use. The spark had caught. We planned a block party. Real permit this time. Monica wasn't invited. I set up a group chat for real HOA reform coffee on my porch, brownies from 3 houses over. When Monica tried to crash the party, grilling me about sprinkler run times, I just smiled and let her stew in her own loneliness. Neighbors started bringing my trash cans back up, leaving notes. "We're rooting for you." That's when Monica went full nuclear left. A legal threat taped to my door, 2 pages, hand-drawn diagrams, all about emotional distress and damage to reputation over the tow. It was half rant, half art project. But Claire and I, over boxed wine, found an HOA bylaw that allowed for mediation if 3 people signed. By midnight, we had 12. I handed the request to Greg, who looked like he'd bitten into a lemon. "Mediation," he sighed. "Is that really necessary?" "Just following the rules," I said. The neighborhood buzzed. People showed up at the community center for the hearing, popcorn, cell phones, out some live streaming like it was the Super Bowl. Monica came in wearing a power suit, clutching her notes, played the victim, even squeezed out a tear. But then neighbor after neighbor stood up. Years of fines, shaming, and intimidation poured out. Claire's spreadsheet of complaints left Greg stunned. When it was my turn, I kept it simple. This isn't about a yard sale. It's about feeling safe at home without fear. The panel recessed. Monica sat there beaten, and the next day, the HOA posted a letter. New reforms, more transparency, a recall election resident committee. Monica's name wasn't mentioned, but everybody knew. Monica slipped into the background curtains-drawn SUV parked quietly at her house. Word had it she joined online HOA groups plotting a comeback. But the fear was gone. The block came alive. Kids played, neighbors laughed. The recall vote became a street festival, potlucks, bounce house. Even Greg stepped down, replaced by a neighbor who led with cookies instead of threats. Months later, Monica nodded at me as she passed by, walking her yappy terrier. My driveway stayed empty. My lawn finally was my own again. The win wasn't beating Monica. It was building a place where nobody could block out the sunlight for the rest of us. So I gotta ask, what would you have done? Drop your wildest neighbor stories below. Let's settle this debate once and for all. Where do you draw the line between standing your ground and keeping the peace? I'll be in the comments.